Hey, how's it going? This is Through the Week, and I'm Pastor Terry. I'm the pastor of First Baptist Church here in Plano, Illinois, and I am so glad that you came and showed up. Tell you what, I don't know what I would do with myself if you weren't here. Well, if I weren't able to talk with you. So, how's it been going? Have things been doing fairly decent? Huh? Starting to open back up, but a few bugs need to be worked out through that, right? Okay. Well, I tell you what, we've been talking about a certain type of discipleship, one that uh, first and foremost remembers God and our position with God and our relationship with God. And I got this quote from this guy, and he took a little forget me not flower and used its five petals as a metaphor and constructed a model so that we could think about things and do things and construct a way for us to remember God all the time and be in concert with Him. So let's take a look at what that model that fellow put up. Forget not to be patient with yourself. Number two is forget not the difference between a good sacrifice and a foolish sacrifice. Number three is forget not to be happy now. Number four is forget not the why of the gospel. And five, our verse for today, forget not that the Lord loves you. Forget not that the Lord loves you. That's a big deal, I tell you what. Oftentimes we do, don't we? We forget that God loves us because He's not around. You know, that idea that absence makes the heart grow fonder, well, that's just for 20-year-old lovers. It doesn't quite work for folks who are away from each other for a long time. You know that old adage that long distance love affairs never work out? Well, it's kind of true. It is really, really hard to stay invested in someone that you're not in contact with. But is it that we're not in contact with God? And that's the question. He's continually trying to contact us, uh, but we don't listen. I don't listen. I mean, it took me decades, literally decades, to just begin to get a glimpse of what God's voice was like for me. And I think that God's voice is different for everyone. I think that God speaks to the heart, and nobody's heart is the same. So when God does speak to you, He speaks to you in a specific and unique way. He speaks to me in a specific and unique way. Unlike my father's voice that comes in my brain every now and then. He had two names for me. One was Peanut. He used to call me Peanut all the time, and the other was Dummy. I grew up liking peanut butter and thinking I was a dummy for doing it. My dad's a great guy, though. I love him to death. I tell you what, I love God too. Even though I don't see him, taste him, hear him, and all that sort of stuff, God speaks to me. It's it's kind of odd. Every now and then, it'll be through a breeze that brushes through a tree, and I just all of a sudden get this feeling that God's talking to me, and it's time for me to pay attention. I have this buddy, and we used to sit and talk about the ways that God contacts us and the ways that God speaks to us in our lives. And I I broke it down to this. It's all nuances. It's nothing like it was back in the day of Abraham, where sat underneath the Mamre tree, or saw all of that fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah. It's not even like the time when Jacob, wrestled with God. It's not big and overwhelming. What it is it's small and nuanced. You ever wonder about the stuff that goes on in your life and why? Oftentimes we think that our lives are just truly messed up, and so we think that God doesn't love us or there is no God. But maybe, just maybe, what's going on in your life is not there to punish you. Maybe what's going on in your life is there to make you stronger. What's going on in your life is there to make you a better human being, a better Christian, a better follower of God, and a more faithful and, I don't know, somebody who pays attention. My wife came by and we had lunch together yesterday and we got to talking. And one of the things that we were talking about, because there were some things going on around us, we got to talking about paying attention to each other and the need to pay attention to each other. It isn't that God isn't talking to you. He is talking to you. Why? Because He loves you. Don't forget to remember that God loves you. That'll go a long way for you to understand what's going on in your life. It isn't necessarily bad. Check out Job. God loves you. Don't ever forget that. Well, I'm out of here. Take care. See ya.